Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
I'm Maddie Grace Levin.
And I'm Trish.
And today we'll be playing the third episode, section, chunk of Persona 2 Innocent Sin. But before we get into all of that, how was everyone's week? I bet it was better than mine.
Not mine. Sorry, Sam, I've got you beat. But Bernard, what's up?
So, over the past 2 weeks, we haven't recorded. So last week, I had my first sessions tutoring English as a foreign language. I had 3 sessions. One was normal, one was kind of weird, one was really weird. Then I had, this week, I haven't had any sessions so far, so that's cool. Honestly, there is a little administrative thing I'm supposed to do that makes it more likely for me to get lessons. I haven't done that.
There you go.
And partially just because I've been having really bad mental health times. So I haven't really had the get up and go to do a little extra work to make it so that I can do a lot of extra work. But I have an appointment with a psychiatrist on Monday, and I'm excited about that.
Hell yeah.
To help figure out what stuff they need to put in me to make my brain work right. And other than that, I've started replaying Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is really, really good.
It really, really is.
I was thinking I wanted to play Xenoblade Chronicles X before Xenoblade Chronicles 3 comes out, because I've never played X. Turns out it sucks, and I don't want to play it. So I was just going to watch, the cutscenes on YouTube for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but then I was like, well, I might as well just replay it, because I never actually beat it the first time, because I lost my save right outside the last boss arena. So, yeah, I'm going to replay Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and play Torna for the first time.
Oh, I heard Torna's so good.
Torna is very good. I have not gotten very far in it, but the super chunky battle system of 2's base game is even better in Torna, and that makes it real good. I really like it.
Hell yeah.
All right, let me say how shitty my week has been, so Maddie can blow me out of the water, and then Trish hopefully had a good week and could then
hold on. So Trish, how was your week, Trish? Was it good or bad?
Mixed. Ups and downs, but I want to focus on the good parts.
Okay, you can go last.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Me and my whole family are sick, and it's not the big sick, thank God, but it is regular sick. And after 2 years of not ever talking to anyone, so we haven't even been regular sick for 2 years, we all forgot how bad it fucking sucks to be sick, and it really fucking sucks. And the last several days have just all of us have just been a shivering, crying mess on the couch, just headaches on stuffy nose, on sore throat, on all this normal cold stuff, and it has sucked, and it still sucks, but I don't want to push this back another week. So here I am with a shitty voice and a big old cough.
Okay, well that did suck. That did suck pretty bad.
That sucks pretty bad. Being sick sucks, and when you're sick and everyone else around you is also sick, it's extra terrible.
Yeah. You know how hard it is to take care of kids? Imagine doing that while sick. It sucks extra bad. I was pounding headache, had been napping the whole day on and off on the couch trying to get better, and then Scarlett started throwing up, and I had to spring into action and jump up and tie her hair back and help her change her clothes and do all of these things and be a good dad while I wanted to die. And that's been a constant for the past couple of days. But on a slight good note, which means that Maddie's is probably worse than mine, Moon Knight concluded, and it is the best thing in the MCU. Hands down, not even close. Like, wow, all of your favorite things. And this is weeks after I said the same thing about Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man, the most recent one, is way better than everything before it. Moon Knight is just like, that's cute, Peter. Sit down. And Moon Knight is fan-fucking-tastic.
Everyone's favorite character, Moon Knight.
You know, we all know that I can be a big hater of the MCU, but there's a couple of parts of the MCU that are extremely good. So even if there's only one great movie in the MCU, saying that Moon Knight is better than that is a very high endorsement.
Mm-hmm.
I was dying for a second, but yeah,
I was wondering. Yeah,
it's really, really good, and it's better if you don't know anything about the character Moon Knight and you just go in and you watch Oscar Isaac be Oscar Isaac for 6 episodes.
Watch Oscar Isaac be Oscar Isaac and British Oscar Isaac.
Look, I'm still not gonna watch it because it's on Disney Plus and it's a television show that isn't Columbo. But that is good to hear. All right, so boy, oh boy, did I have a 2 weeks. So you know how I've been complaining every single week about how I want to be a UPS driver and they're giving me the runaround? Well, I won't even go into some of the bullshit that y'all have heard off the air, but I haven't said on the air because, frankly, it's so far in the past who even cares at this point. But basically, today's Thursday. Last week on Monday at around 12:50 p.m., so right after noon, I was actually pulling up to my union hall to turn in a bitch ton of grievances. Actually, I didn't have enough grievance forms. I was there to pick up some forms and then fill them out. Anyway, as part of my mini errands that day. Anyway, I get a call, and it's not scam likely, but it is a number I don't recognize. It definitely means I'm going to answer it. And yeah, a lady was like, "Is this Maddie?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she was like, we're here with, this is the Lake Merritt Center. Are you still wanting to start driving?" And of course, I'm like trying to not embarrass myself with how excited I am. And I'd heard that they would give you about a week notice or so. And this again is Monday at around 1 p.m. So I say, yeah. And they're like, "Cool. Start tomorrow at 9 a.m. And I'm like, okay. What? I think it's because, if you recall, part of the bullshit is they've been trying to contact me but didn't have my number correct, which is, for the record, complete horseshit. They could have looked up my number on the company system, but whatever. So maybe they were just like, "Well, we wanted to get you in tomorrow and we didn't have your number till today, so you want to come in tomorrow." So first of all, I was like, so I'm pretty sure I already know the answer to this, but just to be clear, I'm not doing my night shift tonight, right? And because that would put me to bed at like 6 a.m. They're like, "Yeah, call your soup and tell them you're not coming in today." I was like, okay. Yeah, so I was starting my amazing journey that I've been so excited for being a driver, which I was going to have a Tuesday through Saturday schedule, which isn't ideal. I'd prefer Monday through Friday, but you don't get to pick. You get what they give you. And also, frankly, I was thinking about it and I was like, there's upsides and downsides to Tuesday, Saturday, frankly. So I'm like, oh my God, change all my plans. Holy cow. There's this huge thing that's being organized for Friday. Both the teachers and the longshoremen are going on strike. And I'm supposed to be organizing this, but never mind. I'm not doing anything except this week, obviously. So, and don't worry, this story isn't actually that long. I just had to give the setup. So basically, then I had probably one of the longest weeks of my life. Definitely the longest week of my life that isn't the week that it isn't related to the period where my spouse left me. Yeah, I had 5 days of driving, and to clarify, it's 30 work days of probation. They call it progression. 30 work days of driving, and then they decide if you get to keep doing it or not. basically. And it's really hard. A lot of people don't make it through on their first try. They have these rubrics you have to hit of going a certain speed, and you don't actually have to hit that speed. They can totally like say, okay, you didn't actually make it, but we want you anyway. But you're supposed to hit those speeds, right? And there's a million little rules you got to learn, and also you got to drive the big truck, which is like hard to drive. Anyway, the point is, it was an absolutely grueling week. Absolutely grueling. It was literally like 10 hours of driving or 11, go home, have dinner, study, because in order to go fast, you have to like know like I had to know the name of every business that I was delivering to, not the address, the name. Because that's faster, right? Because when you're driving down the road, you don't want to look and try to find the fucking, oh, was that 6530? I couldn't tell. No, you want to know that you're delivering to the barbershop, right? So anyway, it was just a whole week of that. By the end of it, I was feeling amazing. I went from being super stressed and feeling super terrified. And on Saturday, I felt great. I was like, I finally am getting the hang of it. I'm doing good. I'm driving by myself now, no supervision. My supervisor has been telling me I'm doing a good job and saying that I'm one of the safest drivers that she's seen and that I'm really getting the hang of it. And then I was a bit like 1 inch too far to the right going down a residential road, and I hit a car mirror. And now I'm not a driver anymore. That's my story. It was it was a crazy week, man. And I was completely devastated emotionally. Like y'all know, this is like my life. This is like my new career that I'm trying to embark on, like life goal type thing. And I was really, and again, it's very common for people to wash out their first try, either because they're not fast enough or because they have some minor or major accident. And it wasn't even for sure that I would get cut by hitting this mirror. Like one of the other drivers, he's like, yeah, sometimes this happens to someone and they give them another chance. They get to just keep trying. But I wasn't sure. Anyway, but for me, they said, you're disqualified. So I have to wait at least 6 months before I can try again. Although given the timing, I'm guessing I don't think that they'll be in a place where they're going to want me to try again in 6 months. So it'll probably be like next January, February. Yeah, no, it was a horrible emotional roller coaster. And I was like in serious, like straight up, like capital G, like grief for like a couple of days, just feeling like so terrible and also feeling like an idiot, because, oh my God, that was so stupid. I can't believe I did that. What an idiot I am. Everyone's going to think, I'm going to go to the event on Sunday and everyone's going to ask, oh my God, how'd your first week go? And I'll have to tell them that I'm a fuck up. Also financial issues, because like was going to be a pay raise for me and I've been struggling financially. It was really terrible, but I speed ran the grief process, and now I'm fine.
I'm sure you're actually fine.
I'm joking a little bit, but legitimately, I literally felt about the same way that I felt when my fucking spouse like left me 3 years ago for like 36 hours. And then, shockingly, I just got a lot better. People were nice to me. I did some fun things, took time to myself, read some books, took a shower, got a lot of encouragement, had phone calls, did a lot of crying. And, having a support network really helps.
Yeah, I went through something similar. Went through something fairly similar recently, and it is amazing how you can just kind of speed run that by just kind of letting yourself feel the feelings and cry about it and get support from people about it. It can help you just, boom, it's done.
And also, like, I've always been pretty resilient. I'm a bounce back type bitch, which is how I am. But I will admit, I was a little bit surprised because I definitely don't normally bounce back from things this fast. But yeah, no, that's it. I feel pretty much, I'm sure that I'll probably occasionally get sad again or whatever, but I mean, nothing's really changed materially. My life's the same as it was 3 months ago. It's just that I'm sad because I wanted it to not be, right? Also, frankly, someone really needs to organize those part-timers, and I was sad that I was going to be leaving and not getting to continue doing that, so that's nice. A lot of them are about to end their probationary period, which means I can really start to talk with them about union and work shit because they have the job security of not being on probation anymore. What was I gonna say? But yeah, the only thing I really feel really bad about is that all of y'all had to deal with this, like, oh, my schedule might change soon. Oh, I don't really know, and then it turns out, oh, never mind. So yeah, no, that was my life. On the other hand, though, no one got sick, and I didn't have to deal with being sick in front of some other people. I also did not have to raise 2 children. So, honestly, it's a bit of a toss-up. Oh, final thing. I read a lot of a book. I'm reading a book that is neither history nor socialist theory nor science fiction nor something from the 19th goddamn century. I'm reading a modern work of contemporary literature about adult human beings living in the modern era and having emotions.
Sounds fake.
That's not the kind of. That's not the kind of book I normally read, is what I'm saying.
I didn't know such media was allowed to exist anymore.
I'm reading a book that a lot of people have been talking about on my timeline for a while, which is Normal People by Sally Rooney. It's incredible. It's fantastic. I gave it my highest recommendation. It is a romance story, basically, about a guy and a girl who, like each other and have an on and off again kind of thing with, like, misunderstandings and emotions and shit. But it is so vividly written, and it shows so much how, like, the material forces and structures of society, whether it's like class, or like class economic pressures or racial stuff, politics, even things like immigration policies, because it takes place in Ireland, how all those things just, like, those aren't separate from day-to-day life. They are just directly inextricably linked to, like, even, like, how you pursue a romantic relationship with somebody. Those things aren't separate at all. And yeah, the 2 characters' psychologies are profoundly affected by their, like, structural positions in society and the various material and ideological pressures and social pressures that are on them. And it makes my heart hurt a whole lot. So yeah, if you feel like reading a book that's, like, doesn't have, like, spaceships that go pew pew in it, then you should try this book.
Related, I read the first 3 pages of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. So
Ooh.
I'm excited for that. Those first couple of pages were real good. And I'm glad that Bernard and Maddie both refrained from telling me what it was about and just said, please go read it, because reading the excerpt or whatever, the book flap, it sounds boring, and I probably wouldn't have believed you that it was fantastic. It sounded.
It's not the kind of book I would normally read, but boy, is it good.
Yeah.
It's a pastiche of books that I respect but don't read, yet I read this one.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's kind of a satiric. It's kind of a parody of, like, high fantasy with, like, 10 billion proper nouns on the first page that just makes me roll my eyes and I think is lame. I do think it is very subtly kind of making fun of those books. And I don't mean that in a mean way. And maybe, I'm sure the author didn't intend it that way at all, but it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah,
perhaps.
It's real good. Go cold buy it and read it, especially if you find it at a rummage sale for $2.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great way to get books.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Great way to get anything, let's be clear.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, like, if you're in if you go to, like, a movie store and go to, like, the used movies, you might get some good stuff, but maybe not, honestly. It's probably the same shit. But if you go to, like, a bookstore and look at their tiny DVD section, or, like, a movie store and look at or, like, a clothing store and look at their tiny record section, you're going to find the weirdest, best shit for $1.
Oh, that also reminds me. I got I thought it was complete. It's not quite complete collection of Columbo on VHS for $0.25 each.
I'm so fucking jealous of you. Oh my god.
One of these days, I need to see this show. The internet's going nuts about it.
It is available to watch for free on IMDb, which apparently has a streaming thing. But it also
Who doesn't have a streaming thing?
But if you don't have a way to put that on your TV, you want to watch it on your TV, the 2 apps, Tubi. whatever the fuck that is, and Voodoo, whatever the fuck that is. I don't know what the fuck those are, but they both have Columbo for free with ads. So watch it. The ads are great. It lets me go and get my girlfriend some ice cream.
Yeah, of those, I recommend Tubi. It's the better of all of those. The IMDb TV, and the other one you fucking said, Voodoo. are impossible to fucking like search and browse, and it's a horrible user experience. Tubi is a knockoff Netflix experience.
Yeah,
and
I use Tubi on my Xbox One, and it's really good. Yeah, it's great. I didn't know what it was, but it's perfectly good for watching Columbo.
Is Columbo Xbox One X enhanced? Does Columbo run at twice the frame rate and have HDR?
That's right, he does. You can unlock new costumes for Columbo, but I will say the new costumes are all just him wearing a shitty brown overcoat.
What are the pre-order bonuses?
Also, Car, because I know you're listening, we're not joking. Columbo is great.
This is some weird
Columbo.
bit. The reason why everyone's into it is because it's really good.
I like how every so often the internet just fixates on an older show that you might have just forgotten about, but it's actually really great. For a while, it was Frasier.
Yep, it was Frasier for a while.
And Frasier is great. And now it's Columbo.
See, I'm more likely to check out Columbo. Because I have a deep love for like mystery stories.
I was way ahead of the curve on Frasier, I'll say.
You liked it before it was cool?
Oh yeah, I've liked it since I was a kid, but I had never even heard of Columbo until like a year or two ago on Twitter. Anyway, what's up with you, Trish?
I've had a lot of ups and downs the last 2 weeks. I want to focus on more positive things, though, because... So I've finished a whole book, basically just in the last 2 weeks. I got this book called Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. It is set in a very high fantasy world, but it is basically a slice of life story about an adventurer, an orc woman who settles down and decides to start a coffee cafe.
That sounds great.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, it's gay. It is very low stakes. Don't expect a lot of like big plotty things. It's just nice characters, pleasing situations. It is delicious comfort food. On the other end of the spectrum, I've been taking bites every so often of I'm going back through, because I had to read it as part of getting my degree back in the day, If on a Winter's Night a Traveler by Italo Calvino.
Hell yeah.
Mostly because I think there might be something in there to like dig into to do something with. That is a really fascinating book. My quick summary for so I can move on quickly is just that it is a novel written in the second person about you, the reader, going to read Italo Calvino's If on a Winter's Night a Traveler, and things spiral from there. And it gets very weird. It's extremely meta. It's neat. It's a neat book. It's actually like the inspiration. Huh? It's
very like Pynchon-y.
Yeah, it's actually the inspiration for Cloud Atlas, which I have not read, but those are the book things. I've been chipping away at. I have so many video games I haven't touched, and I'm like, I need to get back to like finishing some of these. So I'm working to finally try to complete Murder by Numbers, which is a fun game, a little indie game about. It's a murder mystery kind of detective story, but it uses. I can't. Yeah, it uses Picross.
Picross.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
very fun.
Called?
Murder by Numbers. I really want to play it.
My GF's like the biggest Picross fan in the world. I need to make sure he's aware of this.
It's like really, really good art style, really fun theming. It's very nice. And TV show wise, I have been one of my girlfriends, the one who's actually listening to this right now, the audience. We've been going through Our Flag Means Death, which
I've heard is fantastic.
Everyone is correct. It is in fact fantastic. It is some of the best live action TV I've seen in a long time. Other live action TV I've seen recently, you've been watching Moon Knight, but I'm a DC fangirl. So I've been watching Peacemaker, and when another show about a character no one cares about that they made a thing. It's very good. It is very. It definitely won't fit everyone's sensibilities, and there's a lot of things to rightfully criticize with it, but it's tasty. It's fun. It does delve into some hard shit. And
Nice. I've heard it's really good.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's quite good.
So, really quick, I have to say, I was like, what is the fun fact that I forgot about Murder by Numbers? I just looked it up on Wikipedia and remembered. The composer is Masakazu Sugimori, whose credits include Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome that they got that person to do the game.
That's an awfully hot coffee pot.
Actually, what?
Is that a Columbo reference?
No, it's an Eminem just a few years ago reacting to doing like an anti-Trump Black Lives Matter rap. It's terrible. It's absolutely horrible. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my goddamn life.
Okay. Then. Actually, also video game wise, me and person who was on here, Sam, I think I talked last time we do a thing called Right Wednesday. We look at Ace Attorney stuff. We've started digging into Apollo Justice, which is my personal favorite game in the series. And you brought up composers. I actually just found out. I was not aware of this. I will always hold a candle that that's also one of the best soundtracks in the series. And that one actually had a very different composer than the other games in the series. The two composers, one of whom was the one who did the Mega Man X games, and the other one did a lot of Street Fighter games. Didn't work on any of the... Go ahead.
That was actually my fun fact, is that every Phoenix Wright game has a different composer.
Yeah, it's
really?
just
I didn't know that. That's
they
cool.
grab some random person in Capcom and they're like, hey, come do this. And it's a random person in Capcom, so it's great.
Is such and such Sugimori the first Phoenix Wright?
Yes.
Okay, good, because that one is the best of the... I've only played the trilogy, but the first one's got the best music, by far.
Sugimori is the one who did the original game, and which also, sort of sets the precedent.
Vibe. Yeah.
For
the first game has the most iconic music of the trilogy. It is... Yeah, I would always describe it, it's very sharp. It's a very sharp soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly. It's very punchy and bold. Bold and brash.
I was gonna say, speaking of things that belong in the trash, let's listen to some music, but this game's actually good, so it's not a good segue. But either way, let's listen to some Persona 2 music and then talk about the plot.
Are we ready to talk about this strange episode in Persona 2?
This is strange, but I want to say, I think this might be my favorite segment we've done so far.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, easily mine.
It's real good.
And if I've heard anything, if I know this game correctly from what I've heard, it's just going to get weirder from here on.
Yes!
It's a Lisa episode, and just like early Simpsons, it's going to be good when it's a Lisa episode.
Yeah.
I mean, Lisa's best girl. I love her.
Yes. So after the last episode, the gang didn't really know what to do, so they're looking around for rumors about the Masked Circle. In their search for rumors, the gang heads to Hanmaru Park. Some 7 students harass Lisa for an autograph, saying a bunch of stuff that implies she's secretly a member of an idol group. Or something. Who knows? Eventually, the students give up and leave. Patinos asks the local rumor monger about the Masked Circle, but he doesn't know anything. The gang goes around the city talking to every single rumor monger in the game that they can find, but get nothing. It's really funny. You just go to one and they say, I don't know, talk to this person. And you go talk to that person, and eventually you circle around back to the first person.
It reminds me of trying to find General White in Paper Mario.
Oh man, I don't remember that.
It's a thing where you have to go find this person, and you go to this place, and you ask, and they're like, oh, him? Oh, he was just here, and then he left to go to this place, and they just send you throughout the entire game.
Oh, yeah. I know we're past the what tell us about your week thing, but my GF, for apparently no particular reason, blasted through the entirety of Paper Mario in the last 2 weeks, in the course of, like, I don't remember when exactly, but at some point in the last 2 weeks, he did it in, like, 4 days. And I watched him play a pretty large chunk of it, I would say. And just what a great game.
It's so good.
Game. I'm not going to say anything more about it. It's just what a great game. You know what I mean? Like, goddamn.
Yeah. Don't get me started. I can talk for an hour about it.
So eventually, the gang decides to head to the detective agency to see if they can be any help. Todoroki and Tamaki haven't heard about the masked circle either. However, Tadashi has stolen a poster of the soon-to-debut idol group Muses. There are 3 girls on it, but one is mysteriously silhouetted. Lisa recognizes the other 2 as her classmates. Tadashi immediately comes to the conclusion that Lisa is the 3rd member and demands an autograph. Tamaki chases him out of the room, and we hear comic beating up Tadashi sounds. Maya says that if the rumor that Lisa is the 3rd member spreads, it could come true. Yukino speculates that the poster was designed to get people to think Lisa was the 3rd member, possibly the work of the Masked Circle. Tadashi had mentioned that Muses was doing a video shoot at an arcade called Moo, so the gang heads there to see what's up. Upon arriving at Moo, the gang is immediately recruited to be extras in the video being shot. They're directed to the 4th floor, which means a dungeon. At the entrance, a receptionist says, "Here at Moo, the entire facility is one gigantic dungeon, with fun packed into every square inch." And I feel like just every building in the city should have one of these, because every building is a fucking maze, and they all have demons in them.
Yeah, who is the architect for this city? Like, goddamn. I know it's weird to say that, like, what city has one architect, but this city clearly does.
I mean, Paris. Anyway, so that's fun. The gang makes it to the 4th floor, and Lisa meets up with her friends Miho and Mami. They say, "Lisa, you remember that print club photo we took here? We posted it on the board with a wish for us, the 3 of us, to become idols someday. And the legendary producer Genchi Sasaki signed them. Their debut song even has a part in English for Lisa, since she can totally speak English." Lisa blows up at them and says they're not really her friends. Mommy apologizes for going forward with the whole record deal without asking her, and says they've got a live radio performance at Giga Macho now, which, amazing name for an establishment.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
And if Lisa changes her mind, she can join them there. Since the Masked Circle might be involved in this, the gang decides to go to Giga Macho, though Lisa seems reluctant. After an annoying dungeon getting to the top floor of Giga Macho, and also everything only happens on the top floors of these buildings. No one ever does anything on the 1st floor.
That's not true. We're about to go to a dungeon that has multiple areas, not multiple floors. So it's the final area all on one floor.
Okay, but if the venue had multiple floors, you know they would be on the top one.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Anyway, the gang arrives at Giga Macho's radio studio. Miho, Mami, and their producer Genchi Sasaki are being interviewed. Maya encourages Lisa to go along with the interview in order to get information. It turns out the debut song for Muses is called Joker and is based on the Joker game.
Probably okay.
Yeah. The interviewer wraps things up by saying their debut concert is being held at the concert hall in Alba. Sasaki ushers Lisa, Miho, and Mami out of the room, and the gang heads to the concert hall. After going through another dungeon, which is the park that you go through to get to the concert hall.
Which, holy crap, this dungeon was annoying.
It was pretty annoying, yes. I mean, all the dungeons in this game are pretty annoying because you're just wandering around with a high encounter rate and easy battles. So
Yeah.
I felt like the battles in this one, for me at least, were eventually I got the hang of them, but for a while I was getting my ass handed to me.
they were definitely harder than the previous 2 episodes have been.
Yeah, I still haven't figured out how to get new personas going, and I need to dig into that because only Maya has a multi-heal, which has been fine thus far, but as we'll get into in a second, that bit me in the ass today, and the game became suddenly super fucking hard. So I need to get more people with some alternative personas.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, the gang arrives at the concert hall and overhears Lisa talking with her friends on the stage. She's really upset that everyone assumes she speaks English and that she stands out and has to be different from everyone. It's really hard being white. Mommy and Miho try to comfort her and suggest she get Joker to give her the ability to speak English. They're in the masked circle! Sasaki, who is also there, asks Lisa what her dream is and why she didn't tell it to Master Joker. She doesn't have an answer. He says it's because she has no dream to call her own. It mortifies you. That's why you keep squabbling with the gang boss and why you continue to cling to DiGiorno-kun, no? Lisa says she had a dream but lost it. Sasaki says he knows her pain, the pain of being defeated by a dream. But she can pursue a new one. Now call Master Joker. Be reborn as your ideal self. You can be a guide for the youth who have no dreams. The youth who see themselves in your song will summon Master Joker and realize their dreams, just as the Exalted One wishes. Lisa says that's a lie and asks why Joker is turning people into shadow men. Sasaki says, "You know the pain of living without dreams. They have been released from that pain. Isn't that another form of happiness? But whenever possible, those without dreams will be granted new ones. That is what the Exalted One thinks. For that, we need you." Lisa is like, I'll think about it. Aikichi wants to go after her, but Mai tells him to have faith in her. Totino's decides to wait and let Lisa make her decision. What did Cloud Strife and I forget the other names.
Ichigo Ramune.
Yes.
So
and default name, what did they do?
what did you guys do? Because I did the other thing.
I also went with letting her decide for herself because it seems like that lets you skip a bunch of stuff.
Is it not a but thou must?
No, these go completely different paths.
Oh wow! I picked the same one as that. Here's the thing. I picked that, but I thought it was a choice. But then I picked it, and then given how it went after that, because like you said, it is so intrinsically linked to that, I was like, oh, you know what? The other option was probably a but thou must.
Nope.
Yeah, nope.
Yeah,
it was
okay,
not.
okay.
So
I'm glad I picked the right one because I didn't have I'm not looking at a guide or anything.
yeah, so Ichigo and Aikichi are like, no, we got to go and help her. I'm sure that she'll be fine, but she probably needs our backup. So then no one in your party, just your 2 physical attackers with no support spells whatsoever, have to then get out of that dungeon that is balanced for a full party to find where they are, and then do a boss fight with just your 2 physical attackers and your versatile mage of Ginkgo, and do the boss fight that way. And it was really fucking hard. And
yeah, I should mention, I didn't mention this before, but there's a lot of cutscene stuff going on, and at this point where you make the decision, Ichigo and Aikichi have been split off from Maya and Yukino. They're off doing something else that doesn't matter.
yeah, and so all by ourselves, we have to go and do the real hard shit, and it's real hard, but real interesting. I'll let Bernard say the actual cutscenes that you guys got, and I'll chime in if anything was different, just from the direction I went.
All right. So Totino's decides to wait and let Lisa make her decision. After the concert, where Lisa has a solo part, which is in Japanese, Maya says, Lisa's part, was that the Oracle of Maya? Aha, so that's the whole thing. And I'm like,
What?
okay, if you say so, Maya. I mean, you're Maya. If anyone would know, it'd probably be you.
Yeah.
Lisa admits to the crowd that she can't speak English and thanks them for coming. But Aikichi notices something that looks suspiciously like a bomb under a seat. Maya looks at it and is like, yeah, that's a bomb. She walks up to the stage and whispers to Lisa to not freak out, but to calmly tell everyone to leave because there's bombs. Lisa screams, what? Bombs? Right into the microphone, and everyone freaks out and runs away. Yes?
Do you have a boss fight at all?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'll keep listening because so far, wow.
Sasuke shows up in a masked circle getup and says villain shit. Lisa changes into her normal clothes in a flash and says, you're one of them. He says, that's right. I am Prince Taurus. Taurus? I don't know. I must thank you. Through your work, the foreign song has been fulfilled. King Leo shows up and says, you were going to convert a whole concert hall of people, and that didn't happen, so you fucked up. Prince Taurus says, regardless, the crystal skull will soon be filled. The energy of humans yearning after an idol was greater than I imagined. I'll make it in time for the end of Nahui Olin. Maya asks what the fuck any of this means. Every time we see you guys, there's new proper nouns. What the fuck is going on? King Leo says if she wishes to know, he has a game for her. Fuck. My duty is to ignite the flames of expiation to the land shown by the celestial heavens. 4 pillars of fire will rise. One is here. Scour this hall to discover the next target. Somewhere here you shall find a gracious riddle. King Leo says this place will soon be consumed by flame and disappears. Prince Taurus says it's time for a boss battle. So here we do the boss battle, and since we have 5 characters, it's easy.
Yeah, so when Aikichi and Ichigo get to the room where Lisa is, Tauros is there with a skull sucking out the brains of all of the people, but it's not working on Ginkgo. No, it's not working on Ginkgo, and there's some sort of conversation about like, oh, you should totally like give it get your wish from the Joker, give in, join us. You can be the eternal song or whatever that proper noun was. Like you can do that. You can join us, do all of those things, and Ginkgo's like, yeah, I could do that, but also you could fucking suck eggs because I just wanted to get information from you. My friends will be here any second. But she specifically says Maya and the gang will be here any second, and Maya and them did not show up. It was just us two chuckleheads. So then we showed up and had a really fucking hard boss fight where like I'm even on easy and he hits real hard and I only have single person heals and a handful of items, and he does a lot of like status effects too, and so I only had items to take care of those, and I was in a JRPG spiral the entire time, just making sure I did some sort of damage every turn, and I honestly thought I was not going to win, and I had not saved the entire day today because I just played it in a big rush.
No.
And that would have really sucked. And so right when I was about to like start save scumming and do save states in the emulator so that if a turn went badly I could just inch my way forward with RNG, he finally went down. Then Leo showed up to do the same sort of things. It's like you were supposed to get the song from her. You didn't get the song from her, and you didn't convert all the people you were supposed to. And he's like, no, it's still fine. I still did blah, 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 blah. And Leo's like, you fucking suck. Go find a riddle. But you guys got 3 minutes to find it. I got 1 minute to find it.
Oh,
Another thing that was really fucking hard.
This is horrible. horrible. I can't believe they're so punishing for choosing that choice.
It was freakishly hard, but
I know something that makes it actually worse because of a guide, but I don't know if I want to share it.
But I'm glad that it was really hard because I've been on easy and I've been like, should I start over? And I have like, I think my computer can do like 35 times fast forward for a PSP game. I could get back to where we are fairly quickly on normal. So I've been thinking about doing it because easy is super easy, but I had a lot of fun with it being really hard this week. So I'm going to stick to it. I got my enjoyment out of it. I'm back to just being okay with it being pitifully easy for the rest of the game.
Nice. That is really interesting. But after we fight Prince Taurus, he fucking turns Miho and Mommy into Shadowmen and disappears. So that's fucked up. The gang is not good at preventing that.
No.
You really are not.
Yeah, they gotta work on that.
They're not good at being proactive during cutscenes.
So, well, at least in this cutscene, like, Prince Taurus was teleporting around and Totino's was like chasing him and like slashed at him right as he teleported away the last time, trying to murder him, as he should.
Yeah, not for me. We just stood there and he just slurped him up and walked away. Yeah, we're really good at chasing after bad guys. We are not really good at stopping bad guys or saving people at all. That is not what we're here for.
These are just teens, okay? They haven't. They gotta learn. You gotta give them some grace.
Hey, 2 of them are 20-somethings.
That's true. Well, which is, frankly, from what I've seen in my experience being a 20-something, when it comes to, like, competent, general ability to deal, adaptability, just shit togetherness, significantly worse.
So Lisa is distraught at seeing her 2 best friends become Shadowmen, but the gang is like, hey, we need to find the riddle and get out of here before the place blows up. And she's like, fair. So she collects herself and they search for the riddle. They find it, along with a note from King Leo that says, come to the next target. If you can figure out where it is, many sparks have been laid, but only the remote transmitter will set them off. So, did it take y'all forever to find this riddle? Because it took me forever to find the riddle, because everything you can check is a box, except for the one locker where it is.
Yeah, so I actually failed it because a minute is not very long and it's very hard to find.
It took me longer than a minute.
Thankfully, you get a Luna after you beat Prince Tauros on my thing, so I only had to go back a little bit. But yeah, it's like rude how many cutscenes there are throughout this entire thing for it to be the room next door. For at least for me, it's the room where Prince Tauros was. It was the next one door over is where the final thing was, and you walk in there and there's a cutscene and it makes you think, oh, this room was to unlock the cutscene of us saving the lady. Let me turn my ass around and go and try and find the riddle, and I hated it. I died and it sucked.
Aww.
Yeah.
But has anyone else died so far?
No.
Nope.
The game over screen is interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah, it is. You are in a Velvet Room Tartarus-esque place with a person whose name is ? Wearing a mask that I have not seen before, and they pontificate about how you haven't lived up to your expectations or something like that, and then it pops up game over.
Oh, no, I hate it when people
interesting. I don't know who that is.
So it's not Philemon?
It could be Philemon, because when you mentioned Philemon the other day, I did not remember who that was, and I went looking at the Velvet Room, and I did not find a Philemon. So
Philemon's
I might
not
just
in
be
the Velvet Room, I don't believe.
Yeah, Philemon's not in the Velvet Room. He's in a cutscene.
Want to cut in real quick. I don't wait. Did they ever say Philemon in the game?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn. Well, they're saying it wrong. I could be wrong about this. I'm going to look. I didn't think to look it up beforehand. I'm thinking of this right now. But I'm pretty sure it's Philemon.
It is. It is Philemon.
Really?
This character's name. This character's name. I'm saying the game over guy is Philemon, but also
right.
his Japanese name is Filemon. So
Okay.
Philemon.
Well, it's a reference to the Bible. Is the thing.
Whoa. I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's a biblical term. I actually don't remember who it is in the Bible, but I'm pretty sure it's Philemon. And also because Philemon makes it sound like it's a Digimon.
It is.
I don't care. Also, they say Philemon in the game, sure. But I was like, wait a second. I know what Philemon is. That's from the Bible, and it's pronounced Philemon. Wait a second.
Just so everyone knows,
if it's one of the, it's not one of the. If it's a book in the Old Testament, I'm gonna feel like a bad Bible bitch, but it's totally not.
Philemon.
Yeah, it's Philemon, according to this lady.
Oh my god, it's serious. It's a New Testament epistle. There you go. Wow. I gotta go apologize to my mother.
But just so everyone knows, Firumon is a Digimon. It's the main character's Digimon in the visual novel for the phone.
Oh, nice.
Just so you know.
I'm glad I know that.
Yeah, it was going to be on the test, so I'm glad I told you.
There's also some really interesting side content in this particular segment.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to do a lot of it, but I was like, fuck it. Did you do any of it?
Yes. The three big things I like to mention, and they're all in the same area, because we get 2 whole new sections of the city. Or is it 2 or 3 new sections of the city?
I don't know, 2 or 3.
I think.
It's 2. The first one, though, has a couple things. One, you can go to Maya's apartment.
Ooh.
It's a fucking pigsty.
Nice.
And everyone gives her shit about it.
She's just like me for real.
And you can go to the police department, and there you can run into a character who is the main character's older brother. He's a detective. Apparently it says, like, in that little, you'll meet an important character and it gives a little blurb. It says that he's fighting against arsonists. And he's very like, why don't you, like, talk to me or our parents more? You're always so withdrawn and you never try to spend time with us. Oh, you're such a rebel. You need to stop being such a rebel.
I'm busy flipping my lighter and riding my motorcycle.
The fact that his brother fights arsonists, and your idol thing is playing with a lighter.
Yeah.
There's also a really sweet thing after that. If you go talk to Yuki, where Yuki is just like, "Oh, geez, I caught some of that. I definitely, if you ever have issues with your dad or your parents or your brother, just like, you could come to me about it. I could be of help." It's like, oh, that's sweet.
I love Yukino.
She is so great. I adore her. And then the third big thing, there's a completely optional dungeon.
Of course.
You can hear people talk about there's an abandoned factory that supposedly has monsters. If you go in, right at the front, there's a thing about, we closed this because of low productivity. And then there's another sign you can read that's like, that's bullshit. It was actually monsters. Do not come in here. I boarded this place up as best as I can, but like, do not come in here. The monsters will get out. And I've gone off.
Open inside.
I've gone off to try and find someone who could possibly deal with these monsters. But in the meantime, don't come in here, which is super cool and creepy. It's a complete letdown of a dungeon. It has,
far.
It's this big open area and there's only one available room, and you go in there. It only has monsters from previous dungeons. And there's apparently a boss in there that you can run into randomly. I was in there for half an hour and didn't see her.
Oh, so all of the doors have numbers on them, and they are for unofficial chapters. I don't know when the chapters are, but more and more of it opens up as you go along. This is the proto-Tartarus of the game.
Oh, okay, that makes it make more sense. Less disappointing, but still a little disappointing.
Okay, this joke would have made sense if I made it earlier, but I'm still making it anyway. You're saying that, it was closed down for low productivity. No, it's actually because of a monster. The monster's name is NAFTA. That's right. Talking about the Midwest, folks.
Lehman.
That's just going to be anytime of dead air.
Okay, so anyway, the gang escapes, apparently dragging Mommy and Miho along because in the next scene, their character models are standing there just being shadowmen. Just as the concert hall blows up. The fire triggers another panic attack for Maya, and Yukino suddenly notices some gnarly burns on Maya's hands. Did it seem to y'all like the burns had just suddenly appeared on her hands? Or... because it sort of seemed that way to me, like Yukino was like, what the fuck? It feels like these weren't here before. That's what I was reading into it. I want to know if anyone else read that into it.
I didn't think that. I was just thinking she just had some burns on her hands. Like, They just hadn't been mentioned up until now is what I was thinking, but...
That makes sense to me.
Who can
say? Totinos calms her down gently. He also has the option to slap her, which I didn't pick because that's incorrect.
Yeah. Don't do that. It's not how you be nice to people.
I did. It's allowed.
Anyway, Maya collects herself and reads the riddle. It says, 12 beasts crown the Pleiades. When the winds of change blow, all descend with smiles to the netherworld. The gang is like, what the fuck does that mean? Out of nowhere, Miss Ideal walks up and says, to no one in particular, the foreign song, the flames of expiation. It can't be anything but the Oracle of Maya. But who? The gang is like, hi? What do you know about the Oracle of Maya? She says, how do you know about the Oracle? Only Kashihara and I know about it. Us and Sudokun. Don't tell me you're part of the last battalion. She says some more nonsense, notices Lisa, and says, sneaking a spy in with the students to deal with Kashihara and me too. Dirty bastard. Nasty mongrels and minions of the Führer. What? She runs off. The gang is like, okay.
The what now?
What now?
This would have been even more crazy if I hadn't already... It's a shame I've already heard about what this is talking about.
Yeah.
I haven't. I'm still in the dark.
Oh, great. Okay, cool.
I know what this means, but yeah. They're like, how did you spell that?
Miss Ideal is on loan from .hackgu.
So Yukino calls a friend on a hunch that she'll know about the Oracle, since the friend knows occult stuff. Yukino says the friend will meet them at a place called Double Slash. The end, except... after you appear on the world map, you might notice that another building in the area is burned down. You can investigate it and find out it's the fire department.
Oh.
King Leo destroyed the fire department, and now only the gang can stop his arsons. Now the end.
Fun. So,
It's gotta be real embarrassing when the fire department burns down.
Like, you would think of all people who would be able to prevent it from happening.
Maybe all the firemen are out doing the other fires.
Who are they going to call? You know, all the put fire out stuff is currently on fire,
and you can't run into a burning building. So how are they going to get it out and then shoot the water at the building?
Exactly. No, I think it's the most reasonable place to catch on fire and burn down. Anywhere else, you would just call the fire department.
Anywho, let's listen to some more Persona 2 music and then talk about our memorable moments. Who's got some?
I got a couple. I don't know why. I happened to just decide, you know what? I'm going to check in on that quote-unquote weird woman from earlier in the game. I don't know why. I just randomly did. And I found out, yeah, dialogue will change over time. For reference, again, it's the trans man in the first armor store in the game. New dialogue. I never had any interest in men, women either. I never had a relationship and I never wanted one, but men just see me as meat. Just when I think we'd be getting to be good friends, they let their dicks take over and make a pass at me. That's why I thought about becoming a man. This way I'll never be hurt or hurt anyone else anymore. And I'm like, you're so close. That was making this like kind of maybe like ace representation in addition to being trans man that like would have been neat. And then going, and because of I'm ace, that's why I'm trans. It's like,
yeah,
what?
I've noticed in a lot of media, like, not exclusively Japanese stuff. It's certainly not, though. I've noticed it more in Japanese stuff. Western stuff seems to be bad in really different ways. It seems to there always seems to be such like a functional or like what's the word when something exists solely for like the purpose of like achieving some goal. Whatever, I'll just use the word functional. There's always like some functional purpose for like transition, or for any kind of queer stuff. It's always like, oh, like you see it obviously in Persona 4. I've seen it in some animes. I've seen it in a game that I don't even want to name it because it'll be a big spoiler.
Yeah.
Where it's always like, oh, because I was being treated badly, I wanted to be different. And it's like, that's just, no. The funny thing is that comes off as like sensitive and reasonable, but no matter how sensitively it's done, it's like, this is not how it works, man. This is not how it works. I had been treated, my life did not have any problems resulting from me being a straight man. It had zero problems from being that. I just did not I chose to have more problems in my life, significantly more actually. And it wasn't even like it wasn't even like, oh, everyone thought people always thought I was so feminine and wasn't a very good man. It's like, no, that's just not the case. Maybe for some people it could be wrapped up in it, but it's just like, that's instrumental. That's the word. Like, it's always seen as such an instrumental thing. And it's like, no, it's almost never that.
It's very common for trans people to overemphasize their assigned gender at birth in order to make sure no one thinks that they're trans, which will often make the transition then come off as more of a shock to people because it's like, oh, but you were so manly. And it's like, maybe I was just acting that manly to hide. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And also the weird thing about Japanese media doing that, it also leads to fans of those things will be like, oh, well, there's nothing transphobic about this because it's not a trans character. It's just a character cross-dressing because XYZ. And it's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I was going to bring that particular one up. It's like, oh, in Persona 4 and the other game, there's a totally logical explanation for why the character is the way that they are, except no one has thought that ever. It is not realistic. This is a trans story with but actually at the end of it. And because fans love lore and they love background stuff, they will stick on the but actuallys and not on the actual like meat of the text, and it's frustrating to even talk about.
Yeah, and a lot of the time it's like Persona 4 is a great example. I think it might be the best example of this situation, not because it's so egregious, but because it's not, but because it's a very sensitive, wonderful little story, and I don't think of it as being like offensive at all. I just think of it as being naive and not knowing and not coming from any real human experience, right? I'm definitely not one of those like, you can't write about a thing if you're not that thing person. But if you're gonna write about a thing, you should at least know about it and you should do your
research and try to be sensitive to it.
Exactly. And it's just like, nah, man, like that doesn't matter how nice and sensitive you're trying to be. It's just like, it's not an accurate representation of human existence, and this applies to any situation, not just queer stuff. It's just like, anytime you're trying to write about someone's experiences, you should make sure that you're not, because sometimes the thing that makes the most sense, is not actually how it is at all. Sometimes it's way less intuitive than that, actually. And I will say, sometimes it's the fault of the people's experiences themselves. Like Trish was saying, people often whenever I see media that goes really hard on the whole, like, woman in a man's body, or I was always like this and I was born like this, I'm like, you're going in the opposite direction. Like, that's also not really true of most people. It's something that you only get if you're trying to be a woke ally and say the right things, and not really having a lot of nuanced understanding of something, right? And you see this a lot with racial stuff, gender stuff in general. Although with gender stuff, it's a little easier. I mean, just like sexism, not like gender identity stuff. And that's a little easier, at least because like 50% of the population is dames. So I feel like if people are trying to be sensitive, and if some guy is trying to write something about where a woman character deals with woman character issues, it's generally not going to be so far off the mark, as long as the guy's like not a misogynist and is a sensitive guy, because he's probably got he has a lot of women in his life. He's probably generally gotten it. But that's because it's 50% of the population. Right. With a smaller population, it's like, oh man, you've internalized a lot of stuff that to you seems like it makes complete sense, and it does make complete sense. Mm-hmm. However, that's not how it is.
I would say there are a lot of trans people I specifically know who do kind of look at it as like, no, I was always, I was always a girl.
For some people.
Yeah,
sure.
it's different for everybody. The thing is, it's complex. What your gender is and what being trans means to you is unique to everyone. But
yeah. And it's never you liked detectives a lot.
Yeah.
It sounds like the dumbest thing this is gonna sound like the most annoying thing in the world, and I'm sorry, but I am this way. My gender shit is not complicated at all. It's very simplistic. My girlfriend's gender shit is very complicated, and I had a really hard time understanding it, while still just like, love and support and all that. I don't really give a shit. Like, it's all like whatever. I love you and you're hot, whatever. But I didn't really get it. Funny enough, what helped me get it was not any amount of talking to him, because he explained it a million times. I just didn't quite get it. It was reading Hegel. It turns
Catherine
out
Heigl wrote a book.
Yeah, it turns out I needed to have a more dialectical understanding of gender to understand what was going on with my girlfriend.
Oh my god!
So who knows?
But here's the thing. There's another character like this. One of the new stores, in one of the newest bits of the game, there's a beauty salon kind of place, which is you can use the rumors to turn into an armor store. And there's a character there with a masculine sprite who's labeled woman ?
Uh-oh.
And she says, "What? Is it wrong of me to look at women's clothing? I am a woman, I may look like a man, but I have a female soul. Even God makes mistakes sometimes, but I don't mind. Thanks to his power, I had my thingy removed. Now my heart and body are both all woman. Now I can begin my real life. I can even tell my true love how I feel, he.
You know what's the problem with that?
What?
Nothing about that is wrong. It's just so fucking blunt.
It's so blunt. Well, here's my thing. So I definitely think this is way better than the other one. You're right. It is very blunt. But what I would say, first of all, annoyed that there's a question mark at woman. But the thing is, both of these characters had Joker help them out with the thing, which there's a lot of random NPCs you meet in the game. It's like, oh, Joker helped me out with this thing. And so that's, just another adding to that kind of thing. But what is, to me, very specific here with both of these characters and telling is that it seems the only thing Joker changed was their genitalia. And nothing else. They still otherwise completely look like their assigned gender at birth. And I'm like, I cannot speak for everyone. I know that definitely fits some people's ideas of being trans. But in general, no, actually, that's the reverse of a lot of people.
Yeah, and also it's like Joker's like, all right, I help you out with this one thing because like I took a look at your health insurance, buddy, and it ain't gonna get covered. You're on your own for the rest of it.
Yeah, it's
Social transition, new clothes, experimentation, social acceptance, having all those difficult conversations, legal bigotry and gatekeeping and hoops and stuff and hormone. You're gonna have to figure that one all out, okay? But I will, I will invert your dick for you.
yeah. It just kind of shows to me it's a very set. It's a very genitals essentialist mindset of it that doesn't no. That's not how gender works.
Yeah, and again, super sensitive. Like that's so positive. It doesn't seem like it's making fun of the character or anything, but it's just it's not really.
Well, you can talk to
everybody.
Aikichi's very close by, and if you talk to Aikichi is like, "Why is that guy looking at women's clothes?"
Yeah, the text sounded to me very making fun of the person, the way it was written.
Apologies that my spotlight bit is just become checking in with queer shit.
Oh no, it's fine. This is now officially our third Trans Rage episode.
Yay!
We had one in Persona 3, hilarious, and then another one in another series that I'm not going to say which one because spoilers.
Wait, you guys care? Okay, I almost want you to PM me what it was now because I'm curious.
Okay, but yeah. So this is now our third one. So if you're trying to collect them at home, here's another one for your card
there's
binder.
One more that I really want to do, and it's a one where I would definitely have to fall on the side of no, this is very good and profound, and we'll have to see where any other potential trans person in the group would feel about it. But I definitely can't.
I'm so curious.
I definitely. What I'll do is at some point in the next 6 months, I'll just be like, we should play X game offhandedly. That way y'all won't know.
Okay.
And then when we play it, I'll be like, that's the one I was telling y'all about a year ago.
Oh yeah, so so you you covered the thing that I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the queer shit where I'm like, I literally did a thing kind of playing with that series and how it fun kind of queer things with it, and I had to completely skip the thing that you're talking about. And when people bothered me about it, I said, no, this is a minefield. I refuse.
Yeah. I ain't touching that one, man. Yeah, I will say, since we got two people of gender experience here on this pod, I think we should say, and I want to see if Trish can help me out here. I'm curious if there's something that we could say to someone who wants to put a trans character in a thing, right? Not in a deep way, not like I'm going to write a book about the trans experience, but just I want to be inclusive, or I would like to have this kind of character. Maybe I have a trans friend and would like to have something like that represented in my media. I'm curious as to what would be the advice you could give to someone, and and I don't know the answer to this, but I'm thinking what I might say is most trans people are, while they do take their gender shit extremely seriously, obviously you have to take something pretty seriously to put such an outrageous amount of work into
and money.
Yeah, time and money, and subject yourself to so much unpleasantness. But on the other hand, I think a lot of us are very chill about it when it comes to explaining what it is or what it means. That might be my explanation. Now, maybe that's just me, but I don't think it's just me. I think that a problem I've run into is people wanting me to explain strangeness to them, and I'm like, I don't fucking know, man. I don't fucking know. I just thought about myself being a different way and was like, oh, that would be really good. I'm realizing that would be better than what we got currently going on. You know what I mean? And that might be my advice, is that no one's going to have this hard 1 + 1 = 2 explanation of their gender shit. And trying to do that is just going to come off as weird. Because for a lot of trans people, especially, at least for me, but also I think other people who know how to, the desire the desire or the feeling comes first, and the analysis or the justification of it comes second. It is first and foremost an a priori fact, or fact might be a strong word. It is a thing that it is a thing that appears. Funny enough, Slavoj Žižek actually gives one of the best explanations of this that I've seen, which is a very surprising fact to state. But Žižek manages to very carefully suss out how it is simultaneously a decision, but also not a decision. Like it's fully a thing that you choose to do while also being a choice that you just... I don't remember, but he uses his fancy philosopher words to explain it in a way that I think is very nice, while also having some very crude language that makes you go, yikes. But also it's like, wow, you somehow get it, dude. That's egg Zizek. But anyway, that would be what I would say. But I'm curious as to what Trish might have to say, which could be totally the opposite of what I just said.
So I would have two big things. One, and this is kind of my advice, and this is advice I take myself as a writer. If you're wanting to put in representation of a group that you are not a part of, that is fine. You should absolutely... The only way to get good representation is for people to write about things that they are not. But you have to, submit that for feedback and listen when people from that community tell you stuff. And try to work with them. Obviously, don't take everything they say as gospel. Try to get a plurality of perspectives on it. But be able to listen to criticism and take if someone says like, "Hey, you're playing with a trope here that's really nasty, and you shouldn't even touch this." And then the other thing I would say is a lot of people have difficulty understanding the trans experience because they think of it as, well, I would never want to be X. I would never, as I am now, I would never want to change myself to be X, the other thing. And that's not a very helpful way a lot of the time to understand how a trans person feels. The better way usually, in general, the better way to look at it is, well, what if you feel the same way you are now? You know what you are, you're comfortable in who you are, and everyone else is seeing you and talking about you and describing you and judging you on a completely different set of criteria that you didn't agree to. And it just feels gross and it feels wrong. And the only way to do anything about it is to speak up. And you know that if you speak up and start doing things about it, people are going to hate you for it. That's kind of how I would describe it.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I like that. That's quite good. Oh man, what you said, Ronnie. I wanted to add, tag on one extra little thing to what you just said since it was so good, which was son of a gun. I can't remember. Never mind. But
what I would say.
What would you say?
Philemon.
I mean, really, that says it all. What more? Yeah.
Also, Lisa's actual story in this segment I thought was really great. I liked it a lot more than Aikichi's.
Yes. Lisa wasn't calling anyone fatty.
Yes,
that helps.
Yeah.
I thought her struggle was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, what were other people's things? I've been hogging up too much time. Please go.
Yeah, mine are nowhere near as profound, but when playing in 4K and upping the resolution and everything, I don't know if you can tell it on the PSP, Maddie, because you're the only one playing on console, but all the treasure boxes have the Atlas logo on them, and I thought that was cute.
I noticed that.
I was actually going to mention that.
Aww.
Yeah, the graphics continue to be fucking dope, and that was one really funny, cute thing about it. It's like, maybe it's because treasure boxes are fundamentally they don't make any goddamn sense in any context, but especially not in a modern day context. So they are kind of a fundamentally non-diegetic gaming abstraction. No matter what way you goddamn slice it, why are you walking into someone's house and they have a medieval style treasure chest sitting there in the corner with a sword in it? Why does that matter? So because it exists outside of the game itself, it's like, oh, Atlas is giving me, the player, a little treat.
Wait, Maddie, I'm confused. You don't have a treasure chest in your house just in case an adventurer comes by and needs a tunic?
Wait, y'all do? Oh, okay. Oh shit. Okay. I guess I need to get one then.
Did your school not have the whole etiquette course thing that you had to go over? This was part of it.
You let adventurers into your house whenever they want.
This is America. We have the Fourth Amendment. Okay, is it the fourth one? I don't know. I'm not one of those nerds who knows the Constitution.
My other one is move over realistic fish head. Long live realistic human skull in an anime game. It tickled me so pink. Everything is anime and drawn, and they were like, "Fuck, I can't draw a skull. Let's just use this anatomy textbook." And so the crystal skull is just a human skull, and it's amazing. But that's the only two that I wrote down.
I like how, in order to get into the concert hall, you bribe some part-timers who don't want to be there the enormous sum of 10,000 yen.
I mean, that's like $100. If you're a college student, that's a decent chunk of change.
I suppose, yeah. But I had like 100,000 yen plus, so it didn't seem like much to me.
Yeah, I got very lost last week or early this week or something in all those battles. I have way too much yen.
Yeah, and I don't know with inflation and stuff if that's more than your job's worth back in 1990. I want to say 9, but doesn't matter. I just found it funny how all three of them were talking about how they didn't want to be there anyway.
Yeah. Maddie, do you have any more?
I don't. I mean, I had a couple. I was going to mention the Atlas thing, but sorry, my brain is really sidetracked by the whole explaining trans shit to a non-trans person in an easy to understand, like holdable in the palm of your hand kind of way. My brain's like stuck on that now, so never mind me.
Okay. So the yen is stronger than the dollar because 10,000 yen in 1998 is only 10,147 yen today.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. Damn.
I don't have Joe Brandon over there.
But anyone else have anything else to add before we wrap it up?
I look forward to when Maya and or Yukino get their own segment in the story.
Yes.
Big agree.
Which probably won't be long, because if Totino's is going to have his own segment, it'll probably be last.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I never stopped thinking it's funny that you call your guy Totino's DiGiorno.
It's very funny.
That's his
even
name.
Even though I've been aware of this fact far longer than anyone else on this podcast, it has not diminished in its humor capacity.
I've been calling my Persona guy Totino's DiGiorno since Persona 5 Vanilla.
It's very good.
As opposed to Persona 5 Chocolate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Persona 5 Peasant as opposed to Persona 5 Royal.
So yeah, before we say any more stupid puns, let's wrap it up for the week. So if you liked what you heard and you want to help us pay for things, keep the lights on around here, pay for games, hosting costs, all those sorts of things, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where any and all donations will go to helping us out.
All those things you just said.
All those things I just said. I said both versions of my outro at the same time, and it collided at the end of the sentence. But we just opened up membership tiers on our Ko-fi. The default tier is $1 a month. If you donate $1 a month or any amount one time, you will get access to the Gadabout tier, which gets you access to the book club no Kaseki episodes a month before everyone else, the polls to be able to vote on what games we're going to be playing next, as well as all those donations go towards unlocking more shortcasts and longcasts. And then if you up your donation to $5 a month, you get to be at the Warrior tier, which is all of those things mentioned previously. Plus, I get to shout out your name at the end of the episode, like so. Shout outs to Cerebral Wind, Anthony Lerma, Vimk, Jfro Prime, Eli Bergmas, Doho, and Tuxedo Ken. And one step beyond the Warrior tier is the Luminary tier, where we will not only say your name, but we also plug whatever you want for 1 to 2 sentences. Our Luminary's name is Carr, and he is a dentist, so his plug is to brush your teeth twice a day, especially right before bed. So if you want to be like any of these people, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where you can help us out and keep support the show. Also, there is a link to our Discord. Shout outs to quite a few new people that came into the Discord. I love each and every one of you. I do not have your names handy because I just remembered it just now. I'll give you a proper shout out next week. But yeah, I think that'll be it. So for RPG Book Club, I've been Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
I'm Maddie Grace Webben.
And I'm Trish.
Toodaloo, folks.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.